Hi guys, my name is Samia Mazammal. I am a writer for Youth in Politics, and today I am joined with the former Minister of Natural Resources, Mr. Amarjeet Sohi. Amarjeet, how are you today?
I am good. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So we're just going to get started.
Yeah.
So do you believe that the emergency benefit was a good idea?
You mean the emergency benefit for students or general population?
General, CERB, or...
Yeah. You know, I think at a time when we are facing this health crisis and when we want to empower Canadians to make sure they stay home, not only to look after their own health, but the health of their family members, and by staying home, do their part to stop the virus from spreading. But a lot of Canadians cannot stay home on their own because they got to make a living. They got to pay the bills. They got to get groceries. They got to make their mortgage payments. They have, car payments to make, and students have student loans to pay off, and so many other obligations that Canadians have. So, in order for them to stay home, and government encouraging and requiring them to stay home, they need support. They needed that support. So, introduction of the CERB program, in extending a Canada Child Benefit for low-income families, giving more support to seniors by topping up the GIS or GST credit and providing support to students. These were very important and critical steps that government needed to take. And I am glad that they have taken those steps because those supports have really empowered Canadians to do their part to stop the virus.
Yes, I definitely agree. For a while there, I didn't think my mom was going to be able to get time off from work because of the virus, but this really helped us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that being said, do you think that CERB should be turned into a permanent emergency fund?
Well, I have a mixed feelings about it. I think, first of all, CERB has been very successful and it has been delivered very quickly and efficiently and effectively, and came in at the right time when people needed that support. Now, as the economy is opening up, more and more Canadians are going back to work. It was good to know that close to 1 million Canadians went back to work last week, but there are still millions more that cannot find a job or cannot go back to work because of the safety issues or their work environment not being safe. So first of all, it's a fundamental responsibility of the employers to make sure that the workplaces are safe and those Canadians returning to work feel comfortable and that their health and well-being will be looked after. CERB is obviously being modified to encourage Canadians when they have a job to go back to work. I think that is very important, but it's also being extended to ensure those who can't have the access. I think we need to look at, we need to learn from the response of the government to see how better and what are the lessons and what we can do on an ongoing basis. That if there's another pandemic, if there's a reoccurrence of this pandemic, second wave of this pandemic, then how do we continue to support Canadians so they have basic necessities of the needs and enough support from the government to meet those needs.
Mm-hmm. So, but if CERB was turned into a permanent fund, what would that look like for the country?
Well, when you look at more of a long-term support, we do have certain models in place that that Canadians rely on. For example, we have basic income for seniors through old age security, as well as the supplemental support systems that are available to them from the federal government, and some provinces contribute and supplement further income of seniors. That's one model where we do have a basic income for for seniors. Then the other model is the Canada Child Benefit. Canada Child Benefit provides, based on the income of the family, a certain income for every child under the age of 18. So families don't have to make tough choices of either to send their kids to a school camp or buy grocery or buy clothing for them. So there's a way. I think there are models out there that can be looked at.
Hello?
Understand there's a discussion going on. There you go.
Hello?
You're back.
Okay, yeah.
I know there's
Sorry.
discussion going on basic income, and I there's various discussions going on about that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so an article posted on the CBC stated that there is a projection of a shortfall of $256 billion. So what does that mean for our economy?
I think I think government made the right choices in pandemic. Governments have the ability to carry on the debt and deficit that families and individuals do not have. If government wasn't there to support families, then families would have taken debt on their own, because people have to make their payments. People have to pay their mortgage cost. People have to make their car loan payments. People have to make their student debt payment, right? So instead of individuals taking on that debt, government decided that government is going to take on that debt. It is better choice because governments can borrow at a minimum interest rate than compared to families. Like if you were to borrow, you'll probably be paying commercial lending rate that ranges from 6 to 10%, depending on the on what you're borrowing, or in some cases you're paying 18% on your credit card, when government can borrow less than 1%, and at a time when interest rates are historically the lowest possible, 0.25%, right? And so that's one. The key, governments can borrow at a much lower rate and help families not to take on the responsibility of debt. The second is that governments have the ability to spread out the cost of borrowing over multi-generations, instead of the families don't have that ability. Like you have to pay your debt in a certain amount of time, and you can be burdened with that debt and not be able to do other things that are necessary for you to succeed. I think those are the two things that allow governments to manage debt better than families at a time when families would have been burdened with this debt taken at a time when things were not in people's control.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Okay, so what are your thoughts on universal basic income?
This is something that we need to start thinking more about. I think this pandemic has made us realize that in situations of emergency, people need support systems in place. I'm glad that our federal government acted very quickly, and they put in place programs that were nimble, and they were listening to Canadians, and they were modifying those programs as they went about implementing them. But I think we also need to start thinking about more of a long-term approach to supporting families. So basic income is one concept that people have been talking about. It does provide certainty, it does provide security, and it enables people to participate and take on the role of community volunteers, or making sure they have enough income at home. They can do some community service, or they can go back to school if they need to upgrade their skills, right? Or they can invest in themselves to enable them to find a better job, right? I think there's opportunities that do exist when the people have some security of income, right? Because otherwise people are always worried. Like if you're always worried about paying the bills, then there's a lot of things that you cannot do because that anxiety is overwhelming, and you are unable to focus on many other things that are necessary for you to succeed.
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
So in the 70s, UBI was implemented in a small town in Manitoba for more than 4 years. And the town saw less hospitalizations, so like a decline of 8.5% due to a decline in alcohol-related incidents and mental health-related hospitalizations, more high school graduates, and a better quality of life in general. After the experiment ended in 1979, the improvements seen had quickly faded and life had gone back into what it used to be. So less people were graduating, things like that. So why do you think Canada didn't look more into this data, and why was it not implemented?
Yeah. No, there's a strong case to be made of the social and personal benefits that people who have access to basic income are able to get. You highlighted the societal benefits of less use of healthcare system, less use of the justice system or the policing system, and people able to contribute more, invest in themselves to get better skills, and or go back to school for education. So there are societal and economic benefits of that basic support that families get, and it's been demonstrated through social safety networks that provinces have provided. Because when people have that sense of security, they can contribute better to the society. But this is evolution. I think as our understanding develops around these issues, and we get a better data, we have better information, then you can ask for and advocate for policy changes. I know there was a pilot project in Ontario under Wynne government that was very successful and producing positive results, but unfortunately that was cancelled by the Ford government. I think there are ways, and it should be opportunities to explore and do more studies to verify and validate the data and the benefits of basic income.
Mm-hmm. So in the future, if there are more studies, do you think that universal basic income, that is something that Canadians can make possible in the future?
Well, I think in order for Canadians to convince about the importance and benefits of basic income, you need to collect more data. You need to collect more evidence. And that data has to be not large quantity as what it has to be qualitative data as well. So actually talking to people who have benefited from or will benefit from basic income, and then using data to convince Canadians the societal and economic and personal benefits of these kind of programs. So policies don't develop and get implemented over in a short amount of time. There's a long history of these kind of transformative changes in society, and basic income will be a transformative change in our society if it's done right and it's done with proper data and with measurable outcomes that you want to achieve as a society.
Okay, yeah. So that's all the time we have for today. So Amarjeet, thank you so much for coming on to today's episode and talking to me. I really enjoyed it.
No, thank you so much for having me, Samia.
Thank you for being here. So it was great talking to you. So
bye.
That concludes it. Okay, bye.